Hello, I'm Ninja Greg, and you're watching the Ninja Greg Show. And I was going to do a review of Welcome to Mooseport this week, but I've made a slight change of plans. Why? Well, because like Daddy's Home last week, Welcome to Mooseport is yet another completely underwhelming comedy. And I just recently saw on YouTube a video by the Fine Brothers that it just made me kind of sad, and I feel I should address the subject of that video recently, and I'll get to it in a little bit. But yeah, Welcome to Mooseport was not very good at all. I mean, if you want my thoughts on it, I'll explain them really quickly. It's basically take two guys having another pissing contest, but instead of them, fighting over a family, they're fighting over one woman and maybe being the mayor of the small town of Mooseport. Gene Hackman is basically Lex Luthor again, except this time he doesn't have a hate boner for Superman, and Ray Romano is Ray Barone, just in a different town and no family and with a different job. So, yeah, Welcome to Mooseport. Hardly worth a rental at your local library or anything. But anyways, onto the subject of what I want to make this week's video about. The most recent video from Fine Brothers Entertainment was another video in the Do They Know, in their Do They Know segment, where they take kids or teenagers and bring back stuff from the past and see how well they know them, like old music, old movies, you get the idea. And what they just did recently was, do kids know the Looney Tunes? Now let me just stop right there and say that the Looney Tunes, I feel, is something everybody should know. I mean, they've been a huge part of our pop culture for years. Like, they're icons that you immediately recognize, like Spider-Man or Superman, or I'm sure there's probably hundreds of other pop culture icons that a million people could recognize if you showed it to them and they'd know who it was instantly. But I like watching the Fine Brothers stuff, but this video just kind of depressed me because the majority of these kids did not know who the Looney Tunes were. And that brought to my attention a fear I've had for a while now, and that's the Looney Tunes aren't really relevant. I mean, yeah, you could make the argument that they've been around since the 40s, but like I said, Superman's been around for just as long, if not longer. Hell, Archie has been around for just as long, if not longer, and they're still pretty relevant, thanks in no small part to Riverdale, the new drama series on the CW. But yeah, Looney Tunes are really not as relevant as they once were, and that's kind of a problem, I think, because the Looney Tunes have set what I think is the gold standard for animation and comedy. And if it wasn't for the Looney Tunes, a lot of the cartoon series we have nowadays probably wouldn't even exist, because the Looney Tunes pretty much cemented cartoons and animation as a viable media and a source of income. Well, okay, they weren't the only ones that did that, because, Walt Disney had Mickey Mouse and pretty much hit after hit after hit with his animated movies. But the Looney Tunes were definitely a part of that spectrum, that spectrum that made America wake up and say, hey, you know what? Cartoons aren't just for gags. Cartoons can mean something. Cartoons can matter. And so nowadays we have a whole bunch of cartoons that really can really impact us in ways we didn't know or think we could be impacted with something traditionally labeled as for kids. And the Looney Tunes were instrumental in that, and it's sad that I think they're honestly kind of fading into obscurity, that icons that have stood the test of time, kids nowadays aren't really familiar with. I have nothing against current good cartoons like Steven Universe, My Little Pony, or Gravity Falls, or the Nickelodeon's Ninja Turtles. Those are all really good, and with something like Ninja Turtles, I'm glad that they're keeping a franchise that's been around since the 80s relevant. But the Looney Tunes need to be relevant again, in a big way. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you could probably find DVDs of the old shorts, or probably watch the old shorts on some retro TV channel somewhere. And yeah, Bugs Bunny does have his own cartoon called Wabbit, but as far as I know, that's just Bugs Bunny, and I haven't really seen any of the other Looney Tune characters in it. We had the Looney Tunes show a few years ago, but I don't really know how long that lasted or how big of an audience it had. But the Looney Tunes need to be relevant again. I don't want to see them just completely fade away and be forgotten. Well, certainly not within my lifetime. Because I am a big Looney Tunes fan. I love the Looney Tunes, and it hurts me that the kids of today, the majority of them, don't know who the Looney Tunes are. I mean, I could just be talking out of left field here, so for all I know, but seeing this video gave me kind of a wake-up call, and I think it's more important I think it was more important for me to talk about this than just put out another video where I was just completely underwhelmed by some boring comedy movie. So, yeah. On the off chance that anyone from Warner Brothers or any major children's network or animation channel or anything else like Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, or whoever has it within their power to do so, I'm begging you, please find a way to make Looney Tunes relevant again. Do not let these beloved characters that have stood the test of time disappear and be forgotten. Make the Looney Tunes matter. Anyways, I hope my message has reached the people it needs to. And I'm Ninja Greg. You've been watching the Ninja Greg Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell so you get notified of whenever I put up new videos like this. I'll see you next time.